Madden.
Yeah.
Are you playing Madden and podding?
No.
Alright. I don't believe you. Okay, let's go. Episode 48. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 48 of the Out of Nowhere podcast. I am your host once again, Michael Allen, and joining me is Chelsea Edgerton. Whoa, there we go.
There we go. That's a normal.
You need to time it, but you need to time it a bit better.
Yeah.
That's useful for buffering.
Yeah. Well, really, I should have told you before the show, like I was going to do you first.
Yeah.
Well, phrasing. But yeah, we can tie that up in post. That's fine. And also with us is Stephen.
Hello.
How'd you all do?
Not too bad.
Yeah, all good, all good.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm a lot more awake today than I was the last time we podded.
It's probably because we weren't up until like 4:30 in the morning.
It was just a 3 o'clock finish yesterday.
That extra hour and a half makes all the difference.
Was we really up till 3?
Yeah.
Well, I think pretty much.
What was yesterday?
NXT and CWC.
Ah, shit, yeah, we were, yeah. Oh, dear. What do we do to ourselves, really? Anyway, let's go into this week's WWE news, and we'll start with the number one show. Well, is it still the number one show? I don't know. We'll start with Monday night and on Raw, and the terrible news that our new Universal Champion Finn Balor has indeed torn his labrum and will be out for 6 months as he recovers from injury from a successful surgery. But that does mean, unfortunately, that he has to vacate his title. I'm sure we were all gutted, considering we were all such massive Balor fans here. But we now need to find a new champion. So, this week we had matches to find out who would win in a Fatal 4-Way next week to be the champion. Right, guys, Fatal 4-Way. Is this the way you'd want to see the title decided? I guess this is the way you can get more people in, but is this the way you'd want to see it defended, Steve? Or, I guess, fought for rather than defended?
Yeah, I think so. I think at this stage, I think with the fact that it was so obviously there was no plans in place, or any, there were nothing. They weren't expecting this. I think doing the Fatal 4-Way seems to be the standard approach to anything like this. Like in an emergency, revert to Fatal 4-Way.
A bit of background on they didn't know and they didn't have much time to find out. They knew right after the match that something was up at SummerSlam. But given the fact that Finn Balor had to go and do Good Morning America in the morning, they didn't get to do the checkup until right before Raw. So the writing was happening all the way up to there, and apparently Vince was pulling out his hair. So writing had happened 3 or 4 times up to when Balor was officially done, basically. And Vince was beside himself until later, which we'll discuss. But yeah, Fatal 4-Way, Chelsea. Are you alright with the Fatal 4-Way? Would you prefer to see something different?
No, I think a Fatal 4-Way is pretty much the right way to go, I think. Considering we had a tournament last time when Seth got injured, I think with the watered down rosters, I think on each show, now they've got a lot less. I think the Fatal 4-Way is the way to do it. I can't say I'm happy with one of the people in the Fatal 4-Way, but
should we get quickly into the people who are right? We've got Seth Rollins, who went up against Sami Zayn in a qualifying match, and I think this was the match of the night, even considering the fact that Sami Zayn appeared to suffer an injury, a legit injury, so it was teased in the match. but Sami Zayn did lose. Seth Rollins overcame, and he's into the tournament. We're all happy with Seth Rollins going into the tournament.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How good was Sami Zayn at selling this quote unquote legit injury?
It was one of those injuries where you seriously question it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
If nothing was the matter, then he's up there with the Miz.
Right. We'll get to that later too. So many teasers. So Seth Rollins is in. Next matchup to decide was Adrian Neville versus Kevin Owens. We don't call him Adrian Neville anymore, do we? Why do we not call him Adrian Neville?
Because it's just Neville, and apparently that's the better idea.
I don't know. Adrian Neville sounds alright. If we could have Kevin Owens instead of just Owens, then why can't we have? Anyway, Kevin Owens defeated Neville to advance into the Fatal 4-Way match. I don't know about you guys, but I'm impressed more and more every time I see Neville. Like even despite he lost, I just think that guy is ridiculous in every way. Speed, strength, high flying ability. I mean, his deadlift German suplex on Kevin Owens was insane.
I think we were talking about this, weren't we, in the group chat, and we were like, how it doesn't make sense. He is so tiny, his body is massive, and he's lifting Kevin Owens up. It just mind explosion. It does not make sense.
He is a really talented wrestler. It's such a shame that he has this ridiculously strong Geordie accent. And
I was just going to say, do you think he's being tied back?
Oh, of course, absolutely. Like if he had just your standard, a box standard sort of English accent, or if he was American.
Like me or you?
Yeah. I think, and he worked on his sort of microphone skills a little bit more, promo skills a bit more. I think he definitely would be getting more of a push. But between the fact that he isn't up there with the best in the promo stakes, I don't think I'm pretty safe to say that. Add on top of the accent, which, without being funny, we can barely understand at times. So how
and that's American... with family from up there.
Yeah, exactly. So how, if you think that the Americans have to watch Game of Thrones with subtitles because of the broad Yorkshire accents, God knows what they're like when it comes to Neville, because they mustn't have a clue.
True?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they don't have a clue. They can't understand it half the time.
Who are they not understanding?
He's put a sword through his neck.
They find it really hard to understand.
That's crazy.
They do it with all of them, with like Downton Abbey and all of them. They really struggle, especially the more northern you get, the harder the Americans find to understand some of the language.
Is this why Grey Day will never be a part of WWE?
we're getting to Scottish people. But it is a massive shame because everything else is there. And I just think between those, you can't. I mean, I can just imagine he's probably gone to Vince with some ideas, and Vince just doesn't have a clue, just nodding his head at him, and just
yeah, he's just like catering's that way.
Yeah, but other than that small downside, his in-ring ability is brilliant. It's amazing.
The little warlock. That's what I think of him. We had next. We had. Okay, we had Rusev, the United States champion, against Big Cass for the qualifying into the Fatal 4-Way. About an 8-minute match, I think this was, and we got a decision by count out as Rusev decided that he just didn't want any more. So we have Big Cass in the Fatal 4-Way for the title.
It's appalling.
Huh? What?
I mean, first of all, him going over Rusev, but then when you've got Sami Zayn, who's missed out on the place. I mean, I get it. Him like Seth Rollins over Sami Zayn is completely fine, but when you're putting Big Cass in a Fatal 4-Way,
how long have we been saying it for? As soon as he got As soon as he had that run by himself when Enzo was out, this was always going to happen. He was always going to be, as soon as possible, be pushed into a title scene. I don't get it as well. I completely agree with you. Like, I don't get it. Like, all the personality of that team comes from Enzo. None of it comes from Cass.
Cass is so awkward on the mic as well. Like, just his SAWFT stuff. Like, it sounds so forced.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really strange one because this is the second. Like, if you take obviously SummerSlam into account, this is the second match in a row where Rusev's basically just pussied out of of fighting. You know, of staging a match, and yeah, it was always going to happen. He was always going to, once they realised that he could still get that push whilst Enzo was out, this was always going to happen sooner rather than later. It comes as no surprise. I mean, we were talking about them potentially getting split up, weren't we, on the last episode? It comes as no surprise, even though I do disagree with it.
Yeah, so the final spot was fought between Chris Jericho and Roman Reigns in standard 15-minute main event that you get. A fun match. I really like Roman Reigns in the ring. He does everything really well. But I would prefer to see Chris Jericho in there. But we didn't. Roman Reigns gets the win with a spear for the win. So there's your four competitors: Roman Reigns, Big Cass, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins. What are the chances of Big Cass winning? Like legit.
Yeah, I think I'd like to say he's there to take the pin.
Yeah.
Because obviously the other three guys are, even Roman Reigns really, are worthy of taking that belt. But
I'm just going to put it out there right now. I'm worried.
Oh, literally, I would not be surprised if they did do it to him. Like Steve was just saying, ever since Enzo was off and he had that push, it's inevitable that that's what they were going to do with him. So I'm definitely worried that it could happen. But putting Cass over Seth Rollins to begin with, but then Kevin Owens too.
It ain't happening. There'd be a revolt. It's not happening. There'd be a mass walkout.
The thing is, go on, Steve, sorry.
I can see. For me, I can see this being that. It's going to be obviously. I think it's clearly going to be one of the other three people that take the title. I think this is a case of seeing how Enzo matches up with them. In terms of building up to. Is it next week the match, or is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we haven't even really got the time to build up. I think this is just a case to see like how he suits into the main event, getting used to that scene a little bit, and eventually seeing there. I think it's too early. I know they are trying to push the new era stuff as much as they possibly can, but this surely would be a step too far.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The thing is, they wanted Finn Balor as the new face, the new lead of this new generation, quote unquote, this new era. Somebody new, somebody fresh, someone babyface, because John Cena's left for now. He's off for a couple of months. They need this new face of WWE, and Finn Balor was clearly scheduled to be that. I can't see Big Cass being that, and Roman Reigns is definitely not going to be.
No, I was just about to say Cass would certainly do what they were hoping Roman Reigns would do. What they expected the crowd to be for Roman Reigns.
At least he's over with the crowd. I guess that's the crowd's behind him, and that's as much as he can do.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe there is a little bit of worry there, but I think common sense somewhere must prevail. And that I think that hopefully that this is more of a getting a feel for Cass in the main event and pushing that way.
Well, if this situation was something that Vince was pulling his hair about, he was certainly happy much later on, and it was noted that his mood lifted as he lost his face, but then he's found a new one. Out came Charlotte with Dana Brooke to the ring, saying that she's there, she's the champ, and that there's no one else to defeat her, basically. And out comes Mr. Foley, saying that Sasha Banks will get her rematch once she returns. Charlotte's like, all right, whatever. But she will face off with somebody tonight. Not tonight. There was somebody returning, or debuting rather, who may have something to say about it. And out comes Bailey. And the reaction was mega, right?
They may as well have had dollar bills dropping from the ceiling.
Something like that. Yeah, this is it. It said that Vince, once they heard the reaction from Backlash. What was the event that before SummerSlam? Battleground.
Battleground, yeah.
They heard the reaction of Battleground, and obviously it was loud. And to hear that same reaction again, Vince was very pleased with that, apparently. So he's seeing dollar bills. He's there in his
vault of money.
Exactly. He's sat in his vault of money, seeing about dollar bills. Bailey was instructed that she had to defeat Dana Brooke, and if she would, she'd get a title match. And there she did. Beat her with the Bailey to belly suplex. 4, 5, 6 minute match, something like that, real short. And there we go. We've got Bailey as the number 1 contender. This was not planned for her to come back. Why do I keep saying come back? It's because she's debuted on friggin' Battleground. It was not planned for her to come up at this point. This happened obviously because of Sasha Banks. Do we still think it's too early, Chelsea?
Definitely not. No. I think we were saying on Monday when we did the post NXT, like we always feared really for NXT with Bailey leaving, but now down there sorted with Ember Moon and the likes, I think the crowd reaction says it all. Like there's no doubting how good she is in the ring. Like she's 100% ready for that. Her mic work is definitely good enough. It's definitely the right time for her, 100%. And if she takes that belt off Charlotte, yes.
Steve, we were worried maybe her character might not stand so much in the big arenas. What do you reckon?
I think time will tell with that. I think it's more how they would book her than her, character as it is. Like the character is clearly over. Bailey as a wrestler is clearly over. It was more kind of how they would, how the creative team would sort of book her on the main roster that I was more worried about. So I think time will tell with that, and how the booker with regards to the title. I think the time, she's more than ready. I think the reasons why she was being kept back were more for the reasons of keeping NXT, moving over until they could find that person in the women's division down there. But with Sasha getting injured, I think the time's definitely right for Bailey to step up, and the reaction said it all. Really, I couldn't be more happy for her, because it's just genuine pleasure on her face. She's a fan at the end of the day. We all know the story. We all know that she wrote a letter saying that's all she wanted to be when she was in school and stuff. And it's one of those feel good stories, isn't it, where this is the ending that you wanted for her to make it up. I just hope it's all recorded into like an individual Bailey 24 thing.
We've got she's wrote a goodbye letter to NXT. Would you like me to read it out to you? Have you guys seen this?
I haven't, but will I cry on live podcast?
Possibly. Here we go. I should need some music in the background. Dear NXT, how are you feeling, Steve? Is that okay so far?
Just about.
Okay. Today I went to the Performance Center and had to clean out my locker. After almost 4 years with NXT, it's time for me to step away and the new crop of women to step up. I'm so confident in the division and know we will be taken to newer heights. I've seen FCW grow from 12 people in the crowd to NXT pay-per-views with 15,000 in Brooklyn. NXT is my life. It's everything I am, everything I've ever wanted in wrestling. The roster, the coaches, our bosses, our fans, all of it is everything I've ever wanted. I couldn't have dreamt of a better journey, and I couldn't have asked for better support and love that all of you have embraced me with. I love this industry with all my heart, but I mean this when I say I would not be able to do the things I've done without you guys. You fans match our passion. With everything we give you in the ring, you give us right back as fans. and that's what makes NXT special, and that's what I'll miss most. I miss my NXT family backstage. I miss those once-in-a-lifetime moments like doing Finn Balor's entrance, or teaming with Shinsuke Nakamura, or standing in the ring for 10 minutes as you guys sing a song. And I miss the proud feeling of being a part of it all. But I know it will continue, and I will never stop chasing that feeling. I am beyond excited to bring everything that you taught me to WWE. Thank you for the memories, and as always, we are NXT. How you doing, guys? It's all right.
The thing I genuinely like, it's just all. I think that's just the thing. It's just all genuine with her in it. Like,
You just made up for it, aren't you? that's
yeah, you are. Like I've before we came on air, I just stuck on NXT again from yesterday, and it showed it showed the end of the Asuka match, and then her coming out on Raw, and it's goose pimples every time every time you see it. You can't help but feel happy for her, and I just hope that the book her right and she gets what she deserves, because she definitely does deserve it.
I think for a lot of people who watch NXT as well, you get more emotionally invested with these people that you've seen grow up to become, main roster wrestlers.
Yeah.
You've not just come from an indie show that you've never seen and you've only ever heard the name. You've watched them week in, week out.
Well, that's it. It's like if it.
I think that attachment probably adds to it.
I was going to say, especially with the likes of Bailey and Sasha, like you saw them on NXT from when they were the likes of, I don't know, like Nikki Storm is at the moment. Like, she's generic. She has no character really, and you've seen them, like you say, progress into what they are now and how brilliant that they are. And like you say, it's just how genuine NXT is.
Well, we all probably want the best for Bailey and wish her all the luck in the world. I'm sure she doesn't need it. And we might as well stick
just before we do move on, just on the whole Charlotte thing, can I just say how outstanding Charlotte is as a heel?
Like,
brilliant.
She's I've noticed it the last few weeks more, but the how she's able to so quickly react to how the crowds react to her. Any chants that come, any chants that are part of it, she ad-libs brilliantly. She just takes it all on and she brings something out. She's definitely got her father's skills as a heel, and she's just she's outstanding.
She certainly is. No arguments there. Move on now.
Move on, yeah.
Well, we haven't got much happier things to talk about, really. Let's talk about something that happened on Raw, and that is the retirement of the Dudley Boys. So it was announced on Twitter earlier in the day that the legendary duo, would be handing them up, and they came out, thanked the fans, give us a few flashbacks with the things that they'd said, like they're making TLC matches with Edge and Christian and the Hardys, which was greeted by delete chants, which pleases me. By the way, is Vince looking at that situation thinking, I want Matt Hardy back? He's got to be.
I think he's looking at that situation and just being like, what the fuck are they doing?
Oh no, I think that's exactly the kind of... Yeah, but that's the kind of thing Vince... Anyway, let's talk about the Dudleys. I think you're the same, Stephen, so I don't know about you, Charles, but I never really got to see ECW. When I was younger, I've watched, obviously, it back now. The network is a joy for those kind of things. But I never watched them in ECW, so I never got that kind of history for them. But in WWE, I don't think there's been a better tag team while I've been watching. I don't know about you guys.
No, like everything I've seen of the Dudleys from ECW is since the network has come on, and but yeah, since just what I've seen on the network, so I haven't really got that connection of watching them when I was younger, but I saw a lot of Bully Ray in TNA when he was doing his Aces and Eight stuffs around that time, and I think that's really where I through to appreciate how good he is.
Yeah.
Like his mic work and stuff like that. So Bully Ray, I've like when I was getting back into wrestling and I was watching that at the time, that's what really made me, like I say, appreciate what he can do. So then going back after that and going back and watching ECW and things like that, no, I definitely agree. They're some of the best, and the nostalgia that some people must have from being people that watched those at the time, like it's really sad. It is really sad, and I just wish they'd done a bit more since they've been back.
Yeah, I certainly think they should have been back about 10 times. I think we mentioned that. But there's one thing that really shocked me. I know, Steve, you didn't watch any TNA. You hadn't seen Bubba Ray doing his Bully Ray gimmick.
No.
As someone who's then not really seen him as a singles competitor, do you just consider him as a tag team guy? Like he's never had that singles run.
He's never had the massive run. I do remember times where he did have a little bit of a singles, push.
He was the guy in TNA. He was.
I do actually recall seeing like a couple of episodes of stuff when he was that character. But for me as somebody who's kind of 95% has kind of just been WWE up until recently. Anyway, it's very much seen as like the ultimate part of the ultimate tag, the ultimate tag team, and he kind of summed it up in how he was saying it for me, and probably a lot of the people who watched that era, those matches with Edge and Christian and the Hardys. That's the way that you will you'll remember him. I don't think as a WWE fan you'll remember him as a singles competitor or even what he could do, because like you said, we never got to see that, and that's just the big shame really, because I think out of the two of them, clearly he still looks like he's got something left in him still, and this would have been the perfect opportunity to do something. I sat there watching it on Monday, and
just waiting, right? I
was waiting. I mean, Chelsea had broke the news to us that they were going to retire, and I quite confidently said that it's it's Devon that's going out. This is the turn. Right up until the point where they kind of announced, they showed the last Twitter message before they came out. Tweet before they came out, and then when they got in and they started talking about it, and the way it was just Bubba Ray that was going on about it all the time, I was just waiting, and it never happened, and then obviously the club came out and ended things, and then I was left a little bit disappointed because, one, I don't get why the club needed to do it. Like, if that was how they wanted to go out, by putting like somebody over, by doing that to them, they may as well give it to a younger tag team, like a more up and coming, and cause a little bit of more of a shock. But then it would have been perfect there for Bubba to completely turn and put Devon through a table and kind of carry on.
Yeah, absolutely right. It did end with Devon going through a table anyway, but I mean, I guess Bubba doesn't really want to do it, because I imagine if he wanted to, he would be able to, right?
I think that's clearly the case. I think like this, as much as I'm saying there that he's clearly still got, clearly still has the ability in the ring, and I think in this stretch that over the last year he's been absolutely fine. And especially when they turned heel again, I think this is down to him clearly saying he don't want to do it, because if he did say I still fancy it, I'm sure they would still have him as a singles competitor.
Oh, I absolutely agree. But he's 45. We've seen older wrestlers. We've seen people going well.
You kind of forget. That's it, and you kind of forget that with them, don't you? And if there's anything, if you've watched the Holy Foley this week on the network, you look at the damage that these wrestlers from that era have taken, in the fact that Mick Foley has to literally bend his back into normal place so he can walk every single day. Imagine Bubba and Devon have probably gone through as much tables and damage as Mick Foley has. Through the different, through ECW, through the Attitude Era. At 45, they must be really struggling to sort of get up and feel okay in the morning.
You think so, but then on Twitter, Bubba Ray's last tweet, whoa, retire? Who said anything about retire? There are plenty of great tag teams out there we want to work with. So, who knows? Who knows what they're doing?
It's strange. It's a strange one.
There's one thing I think we can all agree on is the Devon, get the tables is one of the best things when all the crowd gets behind it, like when he counts them down. One of the best sounds in.
I actually
crowd participation.
Absolutely, I watched last night. I watched the ride along with the Dudleys. I don't know if any of you have seen that. Watched it yet? It's the newest one, so if you've not, I think it's only come out in the last week. But the Devon get the tables was a complete accident, which is typically the case with most of these kind of things. In the fact that Devon actually forgot what he was supposed to be doing in the ring at that point, and Bubba Ray was literally slapping him and telling him to get the table to remember. And then I think at one of the next wrestling events that they had, like the next week or something, they were having their match, and they heard somebody in the crowd shouting it. Yeah, and then exactly. It's just like somebody was saying, "Get Devon, get the table." So like they kind of went backstage and say, "Yeah, I think we've got something with this," and that's how it came along. That's how it came about.
It's these organic things that the crowd pick up, like Suplex City, which then now that's just become a mainstay. But let's go to a little quiz about things that wrestlers have said, and can you remember who said these legendary lines? Are you ready? We're going to have a little quiz. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out your name, or just shout out the answer, I guess. Who said these famous lines? We've got 20. We don't have to do all 20, unless we go really quickly. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Quote. If you put an S in front of Hitman, you have exactly my thoughts on Bret Hart.
Shawn Michaels.
No.
I was going to say Shawn Michaels. Stone Cold?
Ding, 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 ding! 1 point to Chelsea. Alright, here you go. Cut the music. What I'd like to have right now is all you fat, out-of-shape SummerSlam sweat hogs to keep the noise down while I take my robe off and show the ladies what a real sexy man looks like.
Ravishing Rick Rude.
Ding, ding, ding! Well done, Stephen. 1-1. Are you ready? Quote. If I can be serious for a moment.
Is that?
That's the start of any promo he did ever.
Ever?
Oh, Lance Storm.
Correct, Amundo. 2-1 Chelsea. Okay. This one's a good one. Quote, you left a few things, so I brought you a box of your stuff, and since it's your box, appropriately, it's quite large. Who said that?
Could you repeat it, please?
Yeah. You left a few things, so I brought you a box of your stuff, and since it's your box, appropriately, it's quite large.
Val Venus. Oh no, it must have been about Val Venus. Can we have a clue? Do we get clues?
Yeah.
If I could think of an appropriate clue. A member of the Power Trip.
Oh, Triple H.
Is it Triple H to Steph?
It is Triple H to Stephanie, yeah. Said to his wife. Interesting. Alright. 2-1. 2-2. Oh no.
I think Chelsea got
that one, yeah. 3-1.
Yeah.
Alright, here you go. The only reason you were WWE champion for almost a year was because Triple H didn't want to work Tuesdays. Who said that to the longest running SmackDown champion, JBL?
It must be Paul Heyman.
It was Paul Heyman. Well done. All right. I'm gonna have to sing this one. I'm sorry. They tried to get me watch The Condemned, and I said no, no, no. It's a sad fact, Stone Cold couldn't act, so should go, go, go. He likes
Go.
to hang out in bars. I gave him his movie 0 stars. They tried to make me watch
Why?
The Condemned.
You have to do it in. The,
No, no,
now do it in the accent.
no.
Santino Marella.
It was Santino Marella. Brilliant. Steve's in the lead. Right, this one's very obscure, but it's very famous. Quote. That's why I kicked your leg out of your leg.
Owen Hart.
It was Owen Hart. That's why I kicked your leg out of your leg. Well done, Owen. Okay. Quote. Do you know what Tori said the first time she saw Kane naked? Well, I guess this makes me the early bird.
Say that again.
Do you know what Tori said the first time she saw Kane naked? Well, I guess that makes me the early bird. The early bird gets the worm. No. Who said it? It's an awful joke. Who does awful jokes in the WWE?
I don't have a clue.
Chelsea?
JBL.
No. Right lines though. It was Jerry the King.
Of
Of
course.
course it was. Right, here you go. This is two lines. First one's the crowd, the next one is the wrestler. Go back to Toronto. I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot.
Jericho.
Okay. In a response to the crowd saying what? This wrestler said this. Say what again if you want to sleep with your own sister?
It was.
Undertaker was
It was Undertaker, yeah.
It was The Undertaker. I'd like American Badass could just do whatever the hell he wanted. Right. This one is an absolute golden line and appropriate. You can I'm gonna have to beep a word, you can get it. Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, beep! N-word. Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, N.
What?
What?
The N-word, Steve. The N-word is the beep. Hulk Hogan,
Booker
we're
T.
coming for you. Yeah, Booker T on live TV said, Hulk Hogan, we're coming for you. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we've said that word on this podcast before.
Not when it was being lively shown on YouTube. We could beep it out on these quotes. Yeah, Booker T, man. And you should watch that video, everyone, because his response as soon as he says it is hilarious. Like, he knows immediately, and he's like oh shit. Right, here you go. Classic line. Come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Oh, Jesus. I've forgotten. Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper?
Was Roddy Piper. Well done, Stephen. Okay, nice short one, this one. This was a classic. Price check on a jackass.
Stone Cold. I love that episode.
Stone Cold versus Booker T in the
Supermarket
match. What a match. Okay. Another short one. Are you ready?
Yep.
I'm gonna make this a tag team match.
Oh, I've forgotten his name. I've forgotten his name.
How?
What was it? How could I have forgotten his name? Teddy Long.
Teddy Long. Yeah. Okay, this is recent years. This one. Your arms are just too short to box with God.
CM Punk.
Must be Punk.
Punk to The Rock. Okay, this is a classic. But you know and I know that you are only half the man that I am, and I have half the brain that you do.
Is the accent a clue?
No. But
Well,
you
because-
know and I know that you are only half the man that I am, and I have half the brain that you do.
Does it have something to do with Kevin Nash?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know then. I thought someone said it to Kevin Nash, but clearly I'm wrong.
I don't think it was said to Kevin Nash.
Was it No.
was
No,
it?
I thought it was said to Kevin Nash. I think was it Sid Vicious to Kevin Nash?
It was Sid Vicious, but I didn't know it was to. I didn't think it was to Kevin Nash.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was to Kevin Nash.
Oh well, there you go. You were right, Steve. Who said this? Who said this classic line? We understand that Mick Foley, who wrestled here one time as Cactus Jack, is going to win their world title. That's going to put some butts in the seats.
Eric Bischoff.
Oh no,
Oh. Hulk Hogan?
no. A commentator for WCW.
I have no idea. Okay.
No idea.
I don't know.
It was Tony Schiavone, and the last time that they ever won the ratings. Right, three more. Three great ones. All of a sudden, you're doing jumping jacks, you're happy because Kane can talk, the big red retard can finally speak. And then all of a sudden, you're doing jumping jacks, you're happy because Kane can talk, the big red retard can finally speak.
The Rock.
The Rock.
It is The Rock. Okay, penultimate one. Hey, I drank milk that was a day past its expiration date. Now that is extreme. I drank milk that was day past its expiration date. Now that is extreme.
Kurt Angle?
It was Kurt Angle. I get a feeling you must be Googling these because you're getting more than I thought you would. Right, final one. You're going to have to listen because this is quite the quote.
Okay.
You know, they say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Samoa Joe and you can see that this statement is not true. See, normally, if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you've got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm not normal, so you got 25% at beating me at best. And then you add Kurt Angle to the mix, your chances of winning drastically go down. See, the three-way at Sacrifice, you've got 33 and a third chance of winning. But I got 66 and 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me. And he's not even going to try. So Samoa Joe, you take your 33 and a third chance, minus my 25% chance, and you've got 8 and a third chance of winning at Sacrifice. But you take my 75% chance of winning, if it was to go one-on-one, and add that to 66 and 2/3 chance percent, I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning at Sacrifice. See, McJoe, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at Sacrifice. Who speaks nonsense
AJ
like
Styles?
that? No. I give AJ Styles a lot more credit than that.
I ain't got a clue.
What?
This is someone who we had on WWE TV as well, but would always make bloopers when he's speaking like this, such as, what was another one of his classics? Oh, I've wrestled a lot of countries. That was one of his.
I know.
I've wrestled a lot of countries. Yeah,
Scott Steiner.
It was Scott Steiner. Man, seriously, if you That's hard to visualize when someone's reading it to you. But if you go on YouTube and just find it, there's a video and it's adding up all the numbers as it goes, and you're just like, what? What the hell are you on about? You crazy bastard! I think that was about a tie. I've stopped keeping count in the end. But you did better than I thought you would. Some of those were a bit random. So well
I
done.
think that some of them are hard to forget, aren't they?
Well, yeah, like price check for a jackass. No, stay with me. Right, let's move on to SmackDown Live. Which I'm finding. I don't know about you guys, but I'm finding the better show. I'm much happier watching SmackDown than I am Raw. I don't know why.
I'm still really 50-50 on it, I think. Like,
I think it's just because it's shorter. Literally, that's all I think it is. Right, let's go into what happened on SmackDown. We start the show, and all the tag teams and all the women's wrestlers are in the ring. And why? Because we finally have gotten the SmackDown tag team and SmackDown women's titles. Yes, that is their name. The SmackDown women's title and the SmackDown tag team title. So the women's title, let's go with that one. It's white, like the women's title on Raw, and the red on the Raw title is now blue. Exact replicas. What do you think of the belt? Is it all right?
I like the women's one. I think the blue works really well with it.
yeah, I really like it. I just
yeah.
think I think that it's not very original. It's the only drawback to it, but it does look nice.
I think I agree with those sentiments. And then we've got the tag belts, which are like the Raw strap is on a red leather. We've got a blue leather belt with shiny tag team plates, which are exactly the same as the Raw ones. What do you think of these ones?
As much as I dislike the tag team belts, I think they look better blue.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I know you said I don't still particularly get like the Spartan helmets on and stuff. I still don't really like that kind of image, but the silver with the sort of silver with the blue strap works much better than
the bronze and the black.
Yeah, it works much better than the Raw one. So out of the two, those are definitely the ones that I prefer. But I would have still liked to have seen something either a little bit different or a little bit of a throwback to what we've had. You know, the classic tag team titles. I think
I 100% agree with all of it. SmackDown belts beat all the Raw belts. Go figure. Because blue's better than red, obviously.
I like the Intercontinental one.
Ah, that's true. But that's also on SmackDown. So SmackDown still beats Raw.
Do you think that should get more coverage?
Do you know what, Stephen? That's a perfect segue to something that didn't even happen on the show. Right, we talk about this a lot on the show. We talk about Talking Smack because it is more happens on Talking Smack than actually does in the ring. So at the very end of the show, here comes a very hot and bothered Miz who basically starts shouting at Daniel Bryan about how he's not getting a chance on the show, and they're too busy giving pomp and circumstance to the tag team and the women's belts. And Miz makes some very credible points that Daniel Bryan last had the Intercontinental belt when before he left he had to give it up for injury and promised that he would come back and make the Intercontinental title relevant again. And unfortunately, he never did. He had to retire through injury. And the Miz, under no certain terms, didn't know that and called him a coward for quitting and not delivering his promise to get some legitimacy back to the Intercontinental title, either as a wrestler or as a GM. Daniel Bryan walked away after being called a coward, but that went before he decided to tell the Miz that he just doesn't like him as a wrestler, thinks he can't wrestle and he's boring and he's a coward. This is a blurred line between reality? Question mark.
Yeah.
Go on, Chelsea. You go first.
I only watched it for the first time literally like an hour ago. I think I definitely think it was work, but like you say, it was so well done. Like you can't fault the Miz for he's an actor, isn't he? You can't fault his acting ability, and Daniel Bryan put on a really good show too. I mean, the fact that they let it continue and they changed the camera angles when they wanted him to and stuff like that. I definitely think it was a work, but it was so refreshing to watch stuff that like you say blurs the lines again, because for so long kayfabe's been completely dead, and we're getting to this point now where again we're questioning like is it real? And I think over the past couple of days, especially with the Brock and Randy stuff as well, they're doing a really good job of it, I think. And if they continue doing stuff like this, where it is seriously blurring the lines, then I'm all for it. I just hats off to The Miz, because he was fantastic.
Definitely was. He's always got some acting chops. You was going to say something, Steve?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think upon watching sort of after the initial excitement of it and thinking how fantastic it was, I think it's pretty much safe to say it, it was a work, but it was, like Chelsea just said, a brilliant work at that. We've obviously talked about Talking Smack and we've said how good it is. I'm just a little bit worried that they're going to start putting all these sound bites onto Talking Smack to just get people to watch the network. Like, for me, that was what Miz did there was fantastic, but he should have been coming out and doing that in that first segment with the, when they were doing the belts. Like, it would have, like, to me, would have worked so much better than there, and that's why I kind of think it was more of a work, because it felt like it was more put on there, and then obviously we haven't spoke about it, but you had the thing where Carmella attacked Nikki on Talking Smack as well, and I think all of a sudden, like, after that, it almost feels like they've seen the success of Talking Smack so far and thought, we'll add a couple of other things to it and try and get people to watch that and subscribe and watch that. I just think that it was I felt like it was a little bit wasted just being on Talking Smack.
It certainly is, because, I mean, this is clearly going to develop into a major storyline, right?
Absolutely. Well, it certainly seems that way. I mean, it'd be foolish not to. It's more interesting whether have they given Daniel Bryan, clearance to have one match, or is that what we're talking about here? Because without being funny, if there's nothing really else that can come about it, unless it's just a case of like Daniel Bryan then booking him into ridiculous matches or something like that. I don't know.
I think if you give Daniel Bryan the chance, his final one match would not be against The Miz.
Yeah, I think that would be one. I mean, if it was up to Bryan, he would go straight for like Nakamura or Finn or something like that. I don't think he would. I don't think if they said to him, "You can wrestle one more match," I don't think he'd be all for going against The Miz.
I don't know. I think, like, between the fact that if he keeps the Intercontinental title, and it's, mind you, he can't go for a title if he's only one match, can he?
No.
Scrap that idea. Yeah, I don't know. It was certainly setting up as though there was going to be something of a feud between them, but maybe it is more of a general manager versus wrestler feud where there's that kind of thing, and he books him to try and lose or whatever. I don't know.
Now, it was said on Twitter, you've mentioned obviously this part and Brie Bella getting attacked, Nikki Bella getting attacked. On Twitter, on the Bella's account, it said Brie Mod's going to have to get activated. So is Brie now coming back as well? Well, actually, I mean, she only just quit. So
I don't think that. I think as soon as Daniel Bryan was made general manager, I don't think that was ever a question of Brie coming back. No. I think it was pretty nailed on that she would come back, and especially when we started hearing that Nikki was well on her way as well, and it looked like she wasn't going to have to retire, like I first originally thought. Again, the thing that I've liked about Talking Smack the first couple of weeks is you had that blurred line between whether we've had like Daniel Bryan like slagging off Raw, and then last week he'd said he didn't like the Miz, and this week he was saying before it happened that Nikki would be his favourite on the show and stuff, and you had this like Chelsea was saying, you had this bit of a blurred line, and I think by doing the thing with Carmella attacking Nikki on the show, on Talking Smack, I think it's kind of made it think that it's all just it is all just a work. Whereas I kind of didn't have that up until this week. I genuinely thought like it was kind of just a sit-down program. Daniel Bryan was airing his proper views, just doing what, just saying what he thought personally. And now, because they've kind of started bringing in the little bit of action, it kind of makes it then think that, is it a bit of a, is the whole thing a bit of a work, which is a little bit sad because I really enjoyed it for what I thought it might have been.
Yeah, because I got the impression, Chelsea, have you watched all of them as well?
I've seen the Nikki Carmella thing.
No, I've seen the previous.
No, I haven't. I've literally just seen those two segments.
Right. Well, I always got the feeling that it was just totally off the cuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
There was obviously the segments that they needed to talk about on the show, and that was what Renee Young was there for. But then Daniel Bryan would always just ask random things that just came to his head. It didn't seem like it was planned. Solidly planned anyway. Obviously there was a loose path. It was a bit like a Ross Noble gig, there was an end path, but how you got there was just up to you. And that's how I got the impression before, but now not so much.
Yeah, and that's a shame because that's what has led me to watch it these last, because this week before that I genuinely at 3 o'clock in the morning waited up to what I thought, well, I'll stop up and watch that for the extra half an hour, because of what we've had the last couple of weeks, and then now I just hope they don't turn it into like you were saying, Mike, yesterday when we were talking about it. You've got SmackDown, which is on for 2 hours. Do we really say that SmackDown's 2.5 hours because SmackDown Talking Smack is like basically the end of the show in reality, and you've got to buy the network to watch the last bit
until you get something to do with the heavyweight championship. I guess it won't really matter because it's currently just tag teams and women that's been on there, except for John Cena. I mean, John Cena was obviously on there to try and get people to watch it as well, so they're certainly trying to do something with it, that's for sure. But
it's definitely worth a watch. I just hope they don't go over the top with it, and spoil it too much.
Now let's get back to the women in the tag team titles. It was announced that at Backlash, which is the first SmackDown pay-per-view coming up, we will have a 6-pack challenge for the women's title, and we'd also have a tournament which will determine the tag team titles, which will conclude at Backlash. So 2 matches that are confirmed for the Backlash there. Entrance for the tag to be determined, but it's the same 6 women that were in the 6-man tag match at SummerSlam.
It's the only 6 women the way they were talking about it.
Well, there is no one else.
It seemed like that is literally it. They've got 6. Yeah. They've got 6 women.
They have 7.
Renee, Maryse,
Eva Marie.
Oh, she doesn't count. She's not there.
She should count.
I'd take Maryse over Eva Marie. Don't know about you. So that's how that is. I don't think there's really much to talk about that. Who do you think is going to be the tag team tournament conclusion? Who's the match going to be?
I think it's got to be American Alpha and Usos. I think the way that it's shaping, the Usos obviously got they got the.
Who once again, by the way, has shown more charisma on Talking Smack than on the show.
Well, I've grown a little newfound respect for them over the last few weeks. I don't know whether they're going to turn heel. I think that's something that I'd like to see, but I don't know whether they will because of the fact of how they're another tag team that do sell merchandise to the kids and stuff, so whether they turn them heel or not I don't know, but I think they could give them a little bit of an edge, and the way that they kind of sneaked the win off of American Alpha for their team last week, or on the pre-show, of SummerSlam, and then on Talking Smack, they actually Daniel Bryan was asking them about the little bit of heat that they've been getting from the fans, and there wasn't any of the fans are able to boo who they want and cheer who they want. There was clearly some angst towards the fans for the way that they've treated them, especially from Jimmy.
Disrespect because of them siding with Reigns is what they said, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what they said, and you know that it was like they're getting booed due to sort of guilt by association, and it was really refreshing to see that they were just, again, it seemed like it was their genuine opinion that it was harsh, and they weren't afraid to say that. I think they have been given a little bit of an edge, and I think the more that we get closer to I do think it'll be American Alpha and the Usos going for it. I think American Alpha will win out of it, but I do think we'll see the Usos become a lot more edgier and go with how they've been the last few months, really, because they were starting to tread that way when they were teaming with Roman. They were becoming a little bit more less friendly. You know, they were kind of going down the same sort of path as how Roman would fight, a more angrier style. And I think that that's probably what they're going to try and continue to do, because obviously American Alpha are going to be the massive face team going forward.
Well, there's one thing that you said, that obviously the Usos sell a lot of merch and whatnot, and down with the kids. You could quite easily turn them heel, make American Alpha the Uber face, and then they would sell all their shit. So I don't think that is something that would hold them back at all. They just swap one for one, like for like, you know. But the Usos did defeat the Ascension, so they advanced to the next round of the tournament, and the American Alpha defeated Breezango. So they're increasing to the tournament as well.
Can I just say before you move on to the next match that how good that American Alpha and Breezango match was. Now, whether it was just American Alpha, because American Alpha in it and they did such a good job, but Tyler Breeze highlighted massively how much he's been mistreated since he's come up. Because if Fandango had a lot of this match on the outside, like kind of injured or forced out of the ring, and Tyler Breeze was kind of carrying the team, but there was moments in that where I genuinely thought he was going to get the pin over American Alpha. The Ray Warren, and it was. I'm more than happy. Like, I was really pleased to see that Tyler Breeze is being given that opportunity, and hopefully he can carry on, because I thought it were a fantastic match.
It's like he's wrestled with them down in NXT.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any surprise that you find these teams together who they've obviously have wrestled together before, and they do pull out matches that you just don't expect.
No.
But that's why I'm glad that Breezango has gone to SmackDown. I think they would get that opportunity a lot more on SmackDown. For some reason, I don't know why. I just see SmackDown as that kind of show.
It certainly looks that way, doesn't it? It does certainly look like it's the one, if you're a tag team, that's the one where you want to be. That's where you want to be, definitely.
Chelsea, you've said next to nothing for the last 10 minutes. Stevens give his time about the Usos. My question to you is, how are you doing? Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm good.
Got nothing to ask you for wrestling, so are you good? You had a nice day?
Just fine, thank you.
Who do you think is going to win the tag team titles?
It's got to be American Alpha, hasn't it? There's no doubt about it.
Could you not set them up as like the underdogs if the Usos win it, and then it's the fight of American Alpha trying to get the titles?
Oh, I can definitely see them doing that. Yeah, I mean, I want American Alpha to win more than anything, but I 100% agree with Steve when he says everything said about the Usos. I've definitely appreciated them a bit more the past couple of weeks, but as for who I want, it's got to be American Alpha. But I could definitely see, especially if we do get a full-on Usos heel turn, and American Alpha fighting that way.
I want to put out there another possibility of who might win the title, and that is one Mr. Heath Slater, who was charged with finding himself a tag team partner and entering this tag team competition, but would only be offered a contract if he wins the whole thing. And he couldn't find anybody, could he? And he sat there in the changing room all dejected until he gets a hand on the shoulder, and who's there but Rhino? So we've got a team of Rhino and Heath Slater. What the hell? What a random eclectic mix we've got there. But Heath Slater needs to feed his kids, and Rhino needs to pay off the pool. So hey, we've got a perfect team, right? Could these guys win? Seriously.
Well, normally you'd say no, but the fact that the stipulation is in there that Heath
He's
Slater
right.
only gets a contract if he wins,
Yeah.
you have to think that there's definitely a chance of that because, you know, it's as much as it's been really funny the last few weeks, Heath Slater chasing that contract. How much further do you take it if he's done all of, you know, how long can that continue with him not having a contract and stuff, or, you know, and carrying on that story. So with the fact that he chucked in that stipulation and he's now got a legitimate tag team partner, you definitely can't discount it at this stage.
I really wanted him to team with Arn Anderson. But I don't think that would have made much use. Right, the only other there are two parts I know. One was a little throwaway comment in the show. Backstage, Shane McMahon was asked about this thing with Brock Lesnar and his actions when he F5'd him at SummerSlam, and was asked whether or not he thinks Stephanie would take it seriously after she said she'd punish Lesnar, and it's being told that he's been fined $500, which I think Lesnar gets paid for a visit to the toilet.
Well, I was just about to say wipes his ass with, yeah.
So that's the end of his punishment, and Shane said that the thing between him and Brock is not over. Shane's going to die in the ring, right? He's going to die a bloody mess at some point.
WrestleMania, right?
Why? Why would this even be a thing? The only thing that I can think of is that Shane was not meant to be around for a very, very long time, even after this this commissioner gig. Do you think this is just a way of writing him off? But I mean, even if that is set for WrestleMania, which I really hope it's not, that's very much far down the line. Or do you think this is just a way for Shane to think, who can I get?
I was going to say, I do think this is more of a finding a champion kind of thing, rather than him going into the ring with Brock Lesnar, because I just don't think you can. I just don't think you can put Shane in the ring with him and make it believable at this stage.
Game of Thrones fans, you guys are. Did you see the comparisons for the Randy Orton Brock Lesnar match to the Viper versus the Mountain?
No, I didn't, but I should have done.
With him totally bashing in his face and the Viper being Randy Orton. I think it was pretty perfect.
Why did you not share this with us?
I mean, I didn't see any pictures or anything. I just,
Screenshot? I'm disappointed.
Sorry. It's perfect though, right?
Yeah, unbelievably so.
But yeah, Brock Lesnar, Shane McMahon, something's happening down the road. Who knows what? Goldberg? Question mark.
I think it's lining up that way. I really do. I'm seeing more and more, information. Goldberg. Whether it is just coincidence with the fact that the 2K17 is being released shortly or not, but we're getting more and more sound bites from Goldberg. About wanting to fight the Undertaker, he's still got a match in him, etc., etc. The shoving Goldberg down your throats on the adverts on the network, and how the video, the trailer was made for the game and stuff. I really do think.
I tell you what, ever since that visage of Brock Lesnar driving away. Oh no. Goldberg driving away in the police car, and that reflection in that mirror said Suplex City. Ever since then. I mean, it's been a slow rumble, but
I think we're nailed on for that. I think that's exactly where we're going to end up. I think we're going to end up with, Goldberg and Lesnar at WrestleMania. Yeah. I think that's exactly what we'll do.
I don't know about you guys, but I am not going to hold my breath, or even have any expectations for that match.
No,
But
there'd be no expectations for it. Definitely not.
if we ever get Goldberg's entrance again, though, then I'm down with that because I love Goldberg's entrance. Right, the final thing to decide on SmackDown this week was to find out who would be facing Dean Ambrose for the WWE World Title at whatever the event's called that I've forgotten already. Backlash. So AJ Styles was set to face Dolph Ziggler. If AJ Styles won, we would just have AJ Styles versus Dolph Ziggler in a singles match. And if Dolph Ziggler won, we would have a triple threat match. Which got AJ Styles mad, like he was going to get a title shot anyway. So, don't get so mad, AJ. So it was down to AJ Styles to defeat Dolph Ziggler to stop that, and defeat him he did. Poor Dolph Ziggler. Like, I think now he's just been. That's it now. He's done. It's like he can't come back. I don't know about what you guys think about it, but now that Dolph Ziggler's had his defeat to the champ and he's had his defeat to the number one contendership, I think a way to keep him relevant would have put him in this triple threat match. But now I think it's done.
We are on the slow slide for him going back to the Intercontinental Championship and then probably nowhere after that again. I think he's done what he was clearly asked to do, which was to
tie it over,
bridge that gap between the draft and when they could work out exactly what was going to go on. They clearly and rightly so wanted to get that last match out of AJ Styles and John Cena. I think this has always been the plan to have Ambrose go up against AJ. And
let's project about that, Charles. What do you think? AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose. These two could put on a crazy match if they was allowed to. What do you think we're going to get out of it?
I can definitely see AJ Styles coming out with the belt. I don't think there's any doubt about that whatsoever. Like you said, that they're going to put on a great match, and
I didn't say great. I said they could put on a crazy match.
Yeah, well, it's Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles. Of course, it's going to be a great match. But yeah, I definitely think that AJ Styles is going to come out of this one. I mean, the whole thing where his backstage segments where he was like talking about him beating John Cena and he's the new face that runs the place and stuff like that. I can definitely see them taking that forward, and it's only going to get better when he actually has the belt around his waist.
No, he's definitely the man there now. You can see already, and I think you can see with him that you can see in the fact that he's been that man before on, where he's been before on TNA and stuff. You can see that he's had to carry that mantle because, he definitely looks like he's ruling the roost already. And like you say, to get the belt, once he gets the belt, it'll only cement that.
Fantasy booking time. How great would it be if Finn hadn't got injured and we have him as Universal Champion? You've got AJ Styles, who's going to become the new SmackDown champion, and then Anderson and Gallows taking the tag team champions, and just imagine where you can go from there.
What's your fantasy booking? You haven't booked anything.
No, just like have those three with the titles, and then the fact that you have those four guys, Bullet Club, just ruling the WWE. Like, it's crazy to, like, we always say, like, if you'd have said this a year ago, sort of thing, you wouldn't have believed it. But to have those four guys with belts around their waists, it's incredible. And it's just going back to Finn, it's just a massive shame that what happened, and to think we could have got to that point where you have Bullet Club ruling WWE.
I think there would have been something, and I still probably think that there is down the line planned. They didn't. That little shot they put in at SummerSlam was not a throwaway.
No, definitely.
They're too smart. They're too smart at these. Future planning. It might not be for a year. It might not be for 2 years. But at some point down the line, it can always just be called back the fact that he shunned the club when he came out of the locker room or something. Anything like that. You could definitely work back to it. So I think we will see them dancing at some point. It's just a question of when, not if.
Yeah, I think everything about like the club kind of thing will come a long way down the road. I think that everyone's in different, you know, I think
There are
Finn
different
was
phases,
in a
aren't there?
very different place to where AJ and Gallows and Anderson are at the moment. Be interesting. Do you think that Well, I don't think we're going to see if AJ Styles is to win at Backlash. I don't think we're going to see him clean. Do we win cleanly? Do we see like the club interfere in that? Do they come over, or do we not see anything like that at this stage?
No, I definitely think that AJ is going to win this one on his own, and definitely clean too. I think he needs, like, for his first title victory. I think it would be
I
nice
think
for him to just go
I
over
think he
completely
did it.
clean.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just think you're going to sort of, I think as well as making him the number one guy on SmackDown, I think they're also needed trying to make him the number one heel, and I think putting him over cleanly against Dean Ambrose is kind of not the way to go to do that.
He can still go over clean. He can do some dirty stuff in the ring, but he can still get the clean pin.
It's not clean then if he's been dirty through the. That's what I'm saying. It's not clean, is it?
He can have a clean win without interference or like low blows or anything that to get the pin, but he can still.
So how's it not going to be clean then if he gets the clean pin? If he gives him a low blow halfway through a match and then pins him 1, 2, 3, that's still not a clean win.
Well, no, if it's halfway through the match and the pin comes later on after a Styles clash, then it's a clean win.
No, it's not.
It's a clean pin if there's no.
But it's not a clean win, is it?
No, I was saying clean pin.
Oh, okay. I don't think he's gonna like. If they want to make him like the heel that they're trying to build, like I don't think it's a wise choice to give him a clean pin. At this stage, like for what they've given him the clean pin over Cena to get him to this point. What if they give him another completely clean win over Ambrose? They've kind of lost that momentum that they've been trying to build with him.
But he can also come out afterwards and still be a heel, having beaten him clean, because he can just come out with the whole I'm better than him sort of thing. I don't think he has to win dirty for it to continue.
We'll see when he wins dirty.
You show me a heel superstar who wins the belt and it's not won cleanly. It's always got some underhanded tactics in one way or another, whether it's just grabbing the pants or putting the feet on the ropes or something like that. I definitely see AJ winning like that. It won't be a straight victory. He'll have gone to some underhanded tactics. But we will find out when we go to Backlash. So, that's everything covered.
Who would you rather have win that match, Chelsea, by the way, Ambrose or AJ?
Oh, definitely AJ.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that's a question. I don't think we ever got Jon Moxley versus AJ Styles on the independent scenes, did we? So, would this be the first time they've ever... No, they've probably already fought on SmackDown or Raw. Probably at some point. In a tag match, I imagine. So, but
can we just say as well how good Ambrose's commentary was?
Yeah.
Through the through the actual match itself.
He's really good on the commentary, isn't he? Did you listen to his Stone Cold podcast?
Yeah.
No.
No, well. Stone Cold seemed to think, and I don't know if you guys agree, that he seems to have rested on his laurels and that he's become lazy and complacent. Would you agree with that?
No, I can't imagine him to be. From what we've seen of him so far, I can't imagine him to be the type that would kind of rest on his laurels because he's got two a certain stage. I mean, you guys have seen obviously him more like through, you know, what he's done in the past, but by all accounts he's been in some ridiculous matches and put on some ridiculous shows. So for him to then like start resting on his laurels now that he's at the WWE and he's won the championship, I would find hard to believe. I don't know whether you guys would agree, but I would think that I think sometimes his persona can come across that way as being a bit resting on his laurels. You know, the way how laid back he is and the way that he is in, you know, the way that he kind of struts around and he's got that little bit of, you know, cockiness as he walks and things. And I think I don't know whether that's maybe comes across wrongly to certain people. You know, I definitely wouldn't say he's rested on his laurels, but I can see how the way that he carries himself would make people sometimes think that, oh, he's got too big, you know, he's won the belt, he's got too big for his boots kind of thing. But I don't think he's changed from before.
No, I didn't see it either. It was just something that Stone Cold said. I thought it was interesting. Maybe it's something you just pick up when you've been in the business. But I wouldn't have thought. I didn't think he's rested on his laurels. Or like he wants to turn. He said he challenges him to turn it up a notch and to take it to as crazy a place that he could possibly take it. Well,
yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's all right.
I would have said that in today's WWE, he's probably taken it as crazy as possibly he could have, but with Brock Lesnar and everything that's happened now and these blurred lines, maybe we are going to a more edgier place.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I was going to say, like, it's okay, Stone Cold saying that, you know, saying that to him, but he's talking as though he's fighting in his era, and he's not doing that now, and that place where Stone Cold's wanting to go is reserved for Brock Lesnar only.
Yeah, true. Oh well,
you know.
It was just an interesting point. I didn't see anything like that myself, so I just thought, what did you guys think? But that ties us up nicely, I think, to the end of the show. Anything for you guys to promote? Anything to?
I think we both might promote Chelsea Holy Foley.
Yeah, definitely.
Seeing as we've both binge watched that in a day, I think.
All three of us are up to date.
All three of us, yeah. Have all binged Holy Foley, which, yeah, that'll be my guilty pleasure if that becomes a full thing. I'll tell you now.
Noel Foley, I don't understand it yet. Don't think I ever will.
You know how, I don't know whether this was on the podcast or whether it was just us talking, and you said about baby photos to see whether she was always... Well, did you see them show baby photos like on the show?
Yeah, I did see. Well, they did those flash shots, didn't they? But I said I want to see. I want to watch Beyond the Mat again, where she's shown crying in the crowd when Foley's taking his bumps or whatever, and I want to see how she looks then, which I imagine would be a comparable age to the ones that are on the show, to the young lads. I can't remember their names.
Dewey.
No, not Dewey. Mikey and something.
Dozy, Dash and Doc.
No, Stephen, they're the elves.
But in his Santa room.
In his Santa room, yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of these kind of shows, but I watched it and it was fun. So watch that if you don't like reality shows. I enjoyed it, so give it a shot. Chelsea, where can people find you?
Fight Chelsea Fight on Twitter.
And Stevie.
At Russ Poynton on Twitter.
That's going to be a thing now. You can find me at JungleBob96. Please do go to outoflives.net. You can see our writings from Russ on there about what he thinks of the show. Usually a rant. Always good for a rant. I've put up a little piece of my first impressions on Madden, if you're an American football fan as well as a wrestling fan. Spoiler, it's good.
What, yeah, your article or the game? Or you just picking up your own article?
No, the article's probably shit. Oh, Chelsea, I'm sorry. You know how I recorded some videos and some screenshots and stuff whilst I played you just for that one game so I could get some material. And I said I wouldn't name you, but the video has Fight Chelsea Fight at the top. So everyone knows that it was me who I did a 90-yard run as Le'Veon Bell to make the score 56-0. So I'm sorry.
It wasn't nil. I got a score
It was.
on the board,
It was at that point. You did score a touchdown.
I would just like to make it clear that there was points on the board.
There was points.
Eventually.
It ended 99-7. It didn't end 99-7, but it was. I'll save the embarrassment because it was quite bad. So go to outoflives.net and have a look at that and watch that little run I do because Le'Veon Bell has some fancy footwork. This has been the Out of Lives podcast. Until next week, goodbye.